Welcome back to our first game of the Summer Promotion Tournament. Of course, it is Meet Your Makers taking on Dexter is Actually Evil. We've just seen Meet Your Makers take game number 1, convincing fashion as well. It was, I wouldn't call it a one-sided stomp. I don't think we can go that far, but Meet Your Makers controlled the game throughout.
Actually, I love that word you used, the control, because they got every single dragon. They got, was it 3 or 4 turrets, uncontested at all. Yeah. Like, they really did control that game, and they even controlled the team fights as well. Like, that's what their whole composition was based around. But, Joe, one thing for me is, they're on the red side now, and we saw in the playoffs last week just how one-sided the blue side was, if that makes any sense. Or at least the percentage of wins.
When the red team was the boss throughout everything.
I'm curious to see if that might affect them at all, if they have that mentality.
Well, you know, statistically, if we take the whole season of the LCS as a whole for, you know, the base of this, the blue side has been more successful overall. But when it comes down to a best of 3, I think it kind of gets thrown off a little bit just because of the whole momentum factor of, you know, if you win or lose in your first game and what have you, which of course Meet Your Makers did win. They are 1-0 up, and on game point, technically, winning this second game will push them through into tomorrow's best of 5, where they play the Dragonborns.
Yes, they do, and you know, I'm curious to see how well they do. Like they've obviously been preparing for Dragonborns, like they have to if they know they're going to be playing against them next. They got 2-0, like we said before, in the qualifiers. Like, you know, there's some revenge there. You know, they're like, oh, I want to take this from them because, you know, Dragonborns, they have to defend, or they have to earn their spot back in LCS. They did not do that well, we have to say. And we saw Yamato Cannon, you know, brought into the top lane for Spontex. We saw Maluno come back into the roster. They haven't really melded well, but they've been boot camping. They've been training this past week straight, and I'm curious to see how well they can do.
But you also have to wonder, you know, boot camping the past week straight. They've had their house now for 5 or 6 weeks. Maybe a week is just too little for them. That needed to have happened already weeks and weeks ago for them. But you know, enough about Dragonborns. They're not the focus just yet on this one. Of course, Meet Your Makers versus Dexter is Actually Evil. Game 2 going to be coming up here in a second. And after what we saw there in game number 1, do you expect any different bans?
No, I expect pretty much the same thing because there was no one champion on either team that was really impactful the entire time. I mean, Zach, he did okay. He held on to his lane. He got a couple of kills. They weren't like, you know, 1v1 kills. They weren't, you know, like the kills that he necessarily earned 100%. It was just more of like picking them up in the fight. So I don't think there's going to be any targeted bans, but I would expect Twisted Fate's going to be taken out again, definitely. Yeah. I expect, well, maybe Kazakh actually, Zed to be taken out, pretty sure. Just pretty much the same standard thing we saw last time. It's pretty much ban the overpowereds, as Crepo was saying, like ban all the OP champions or let them all through, because then that way you guarantee to pick up 2.
Well, one thing that is for sure is that Meet Your Makers, because they're on the red side, that could swing things here, whether they want to leave something open and hope that Dexter is Actually Evil don't pick it up first and get it in their first round of picks as well. So we'll see that here in just a second. We're almost ready to kick off game number 2. But, of course, over on lolesports.com, you guys have been voting, and things have changed, albeit by a small amount. It's now 89% of the vote for Meet Your Makers. You guys still have time to get your votes in there as well. So, you know, Dexter is Actually Evil. They've got an extra 1% of the fan vote coming out there. So even after losing the first game, people seem to be getting, you know, more warm to the whole idea of them maybe able to come back in this one.
And let me ask you something, Joe, because I have my opinion on it. You know, Dexter, we saw him play Jarvan in that game. He, in my opinion, did quite a bit better. I mean, like, he looked like a different jungler than from Dragonborn's side. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that one. He looked very, very solid with that Jarvan. We saw some great moves out of him getting involved early on, which sadly for him didn't really result in anything for the team in terms of kills. But he took some nice routes, you know, through Dragon, through Baron Pit, that kind of thing over the walls to make sure that he avoided all that ward coverage coming in there.
And we've seen Sven Skaren from the Copenhagen Wolves, just like, because, you know, in the beginning of the season, he didn't do that well, but once he started picking up Jarvan and playing it pretty much every game, it turned for him. He became a really good jungler. Dexter did the same right there, but we are to pick some bans, and right away, Shen being taken away, because they, well, Meet Your Makers wants to, I guess, potentially pick him up. We saw Kiki's use him last time, didn't do that well, and Diana being taken out yet again.
Yep, Diana out there obviously was banned by Meet Your Makers in game number 1, and Dexter is Actually Evil, they picked that Shen. They're going to ban Rumble this time around as well. So we said that we'll probably see the same kind of bans, and we're being proved completely wrong. Will be a Thresh final ban, which was banned in game number 1, but they also banned out Sona there, did Dexter. Dexter is Actually Evil. Let's try that one again. And the bans here, Diana, Zed for Meet Your Makers. This is going to leave a Twisted Fate open for play.
That's what I was thinking about, because if you leave Twisted Fate open, Dexter's Actually Evil will most likely pick it up, but that will pretty much give you like 2 people that you want to pick.
Or
like,
not.
It'll give you that that Zyra if Lipic wants to go for it. It looks like Victor's actually Evil wants to try Zach for themselves. I'm not really sure where that's going to go yet. I mean, we've seen it in the jungle, like I said before. We've seen it top, we've seen it middle, and time will only tell. And that's one thing that Victor's actually Evil has in their favor. Like, they play a lot of Elise as well, so you can put them in the top, but you can put them in the jungle, and you never fully know until all the picks are locked in.
And of course, Twisted Fate was banned out by MYM themselves, which I didn't really expect to happen, to be honest with you, but that's what they've gone for, and it will be an Elise here, looking like along with Zyra. So Livic saying, I really want that Zyra. They banned out Sona, they banned out Thresh the last game, they took that Zyra away from me, but now I'm going to show them how a man plays Zyra.
Indeed. And, you know, looking at the Elise Zach combo, if they do actually lane together or against each other, we saw this matchup already with EG and Fnatic where Soaz was on the Elise and we saw Wicked on the Zach, and Soaz actually won that lane quite heavily. Unfortunately, Fnatic didn't win that game in the end. But we do see the Nautilus locked in over for Dexter's actually Evil, which we saw Makata on last game. Looks like we're having like reverse picks here, where the team's taking the other team's picks from game number 1. But the Forest does get locked in. Yeah,
including Ari going to be locked in there as well for Charu. He's going to take that one here in his 3rd pick. What will Michael add into this one? AD carry. Or will they leave that whole top thing, you know, guessing? Will it be Elise top? Will it be Elise in the jungle, maybe? They are going to be going for the AD carry. Looks like it's going to be Caitlyn-Zyra combo.
Because I'm looking at that, and it's not an amazing lane because you're not really going to get any kills. If you're in a Zyra, you want someone a little bit more aggressive, so maybe Misfortune or something like that, maybe an Ezreal, but it looks like that might, if they do lock that in, just kind of be a farm lane for them in the end, as it looks like Michael is doing his mastery, so it looks like he will stick with this Caitlyn. It's going to be an interesting lane to see. I mean, the range is really... Oh, and as I said, he switches to Twitch. Yeah. I was going to say, like, pairing a Caitlyn with a Zyra, it's contradicting itself. It's not really worth it in the end, but with a Twitch, it's going to be worth it.
Well, Twitch is going to be in there. What a Dex is actually Evil going to go for. Looks like it could be a Sona to support that Varus. And, you know, that kind of fits in there as well, you know, the whole chain of corruption with the crescendo in, you know, either one first or second. And then added in here with Lux as well. So we could have, you know, a lot of control there and a lot of burst damage coming straight out from that.
Yeah, and burst damage, to look at the team comp that Meechmakers has already. I mean, they're relatively squishy. Like, Zyra is extremely squishy. You have to build some sort of magic resist with Ari to keep her alive. Like, if you land one light bind and you follow that up with your entire team, like, that person's going to die. And if you can pull that off, you have an instant 5v4, and it doesn't matter what comp Meechmakers will have in the end if you have that situation.
So, it was the Lux and Sona all picked in. And what a Meechmaker's going to end with here. They've got...
Maybe a Moo. I don't know, because like they have the Zyra ultimate, so you want someone to really hold it down to allow that Zyra ultimate to knock up. Maokai wouldn't be too bad. I mean, you can lock someone down. You have the reduction to the AoE damage. It can actually work out quite well.
Well, it will be Makata picking up Maokai here.
That's going to be fun to say.
Makata, yeah. And one thing that we didn't really mention here that, you know, we used to harp on quite a lot of things is the whole brotherly love in the Meechmakers team, because we do have Makata and Makla, who are both brothers.
Yes,
obviously, they're both brothers, because if one of them was just a brother, that'd be slightly weird. And they are brothers, is my point that I'm trying to make from that one, which, you know, can always help in terms of team synergy. You probably don't know, you know, anyone better than your brother, to be honest.
And it's also quite interesting to see just like how they interact with each other, like at home. Because if I'm not mistaken, they don't really have a gaming house at this point. But just to see them interact with each other, like if my brother and I were playing this game and I knew he made a mistake, cost us a game, I would mess with him. I would like punch him throughout the day. I would really do things to let out that stress. But you know, they've been doing this for so long. They've been together for at least a year and a half, if I'm not mistaken, as the same roster, and they've always been working with that.
I think they've been, yeah, since I think WCG 2011 was the last event for Kikis. I think they changed the roster pretty much after that one when it came, because that was late in the year, then coming in towards February time. So it's been a really long time that Meechmakers have been together. And as we said, they were one of the big favorites really to qualify for LCS Spring Split. That didn't happen for them, but they are looking pretty damn solid here for the Summer Split. 1-0 up in this best of 3. And now we see Dex, who is actually Evil, of course, now part of the Mouse Sports organization since just yesterday. They are going to be looking to turn this one around, but definitely not an easy game for them.
And to me, it's a little bit interesting to see that Meechmakers is running a couple of comfort champions with the Zyra, with the Maokai, and the Elise. Like, if you're letting them play what they're comfortable with, and that might be the downfall for Dexter's actually Evil. But, you know, with the Lux, that's always like a wild card on a team. Like, if Lux does well, it's just going to shut you down in the game.
So here we go then into game. Dex, who is actually Evil on the blue side. Meechmakers 1-0 up now, moving over onto the red team. Jason, level 1 action here. What can we expect?
I'm expecting Mutual Makers to play a little bit aggressive. I mean, they have the potential to go for some really good lockdown. If you see a Twisted Advance land, you're going to see a Grassroots followed up. You're going to see a Charm followed up. And Twitch just does so much damage early on if you get that 6-stack of Expunge up. But as I say that, it looks like they're just going to play a little bit passive here. Just try to, you know, maybe not do something so crazy when it's the second game. Maybe the third game if you want to use it then. Because you realize, like, you're one game away from going into that promotion match. That best of 5 with Dragonborns.
Exactly. We are seeing wards go down there. Kuban, this puts one right on the top of Kikis. Of course, he replaced Kikis in this team, so we'll be wanting to prove a few things in this one as Makler walking away there. Grasping Root comes down from Zyra. And in the end, no real early action coming out from either side. And we can see that MYM Makers again already at the start. They have 2 pink wards in their lineup. Yeah, they're definitely trying to take away this vision, trying to let Makati get in because, you know, Maokai, he's a really strong early ganker because if you lock them down with that Twisted Advance and then you follow up with any lane that has CC, which in the top, in the middle, and the bottom, they all have completely, like, you're going to blow a flash, and if you come around again, you're going to get a kill. That's the strength of their composition right now. They want to win early on, and if they do, they should be able to shut down Dexter's Actually Evil. Though, if Dexter's Actually Evil can hold on, maybe get a couple of kills on a moves, they can do the same to Mutual Makers. Well, if you were thinking it's going to go in anywhere, you'd expect it to be that top lane now that we've seen that pink ward put down by Elise to clear out the vision that Kikis had put in there as well. So, what have we seen here early on from the jungle? Dexter's Actually Evil in the bottom lane starting off by the golems. Actually, Kuban is going to be doing the golems on his own on that top side. Interesting start. Yeah, I mean, she's one of those champions that's kind of like Malzahar, which you saw Snoopy jungle with, where you can let your pets tank for you and you can get some free damage on. He wants to get that early level advantage over against Kiki's, and he is running, you know, those. Well, he had more than 4 health pots earlier and that mana pot, so he has the sustain he's going to need. But we'll see how this works off because he's against a Reju bead and a 6 health pot Kiki's. Yeah, 6 health pots. So not going to be seeing that for much longer, since in a live patch we do have that 5-pot restriction on now, but that's obviously not quite being played here just yet, as Makato, as we expected, with that pink ward coming down, is coming in towards his top lane. The question is, will he be able to get in here? And look at that, that is a very early flash coming out of Kikis. That was a little unexpected. I mean, I guess he didn't want to take too much damage, but with the health pots you have, with the Reju bead, not to mention your passive, like, you shouldn't have been that afraid. So it might have been a misclick. It might have just him wanted to play a little bit safe, but with that flash down, like, that's a really big sign for Mutual Makers on the top lane. Like, Kuban could take advantage of this. That may just show, you know, the nervous side of Kikis there in that top lane. There was talk when he was speaking about the team that, you know, when it comes to LAN, he does play very nervously. I mean, back then he was 15 years old, and you can kind of expect that you're going to be nervous getting on a big stage. But it doesn't seem to have maybe gone away quite as much as he would have hoped from that one. But Dexter is waiting in the wings here to maybe get involved on towards Kuban if he can ever squeeze his way through in towards his top lane. Don't think he was spotted there. Problem is that he's got to get through the minions here to have an impact. Yes, he does. Right now, he's just leeching that experience at this point. And we did see with Makati ganking the lane very early on, he actually didn't take his blue buff. So he bypassed that. He's going back for it now. Kuban's going to go for engage onto him. But, you know, Kuban's just playing really smart. Like, he knows that the only way that a jungler can get through is in those bushes. And he's just not allowing any gank to happen. Yeah, exactly. Not going to push out from that one as we are going to see Charu. Is he going to go wandering? Not just yet. Does have, of course, teleport, as we've come to expect from Charu over the years. His bottom lane has been pushed right out there as well from the Twitch Zyra lane. See, one thing that's really dangerous about this bottom lane and being on the blue side is that with any sort of sustain which you have out of Sona, like, you can push your wave and then just go back, take double golems, come back to lane, you won't miss any CS. Or if you do, it's like 1 or 2. And that gives you such a huge level advantage, such a huge gold advantage, that you can really shut down the AD carry of the other lane. But Mutual Makers, they're like pushing the lane in every time they have the opportunity to, and because of that, they're not allowing them to go for it. Oh, and Makler actually going in here, a lot of damage coming out with that Expungement. No, they're very similar in that way, both Twitch and Varus, that they can get those auto attacks out there and then pop them afterwards. So we are seeing Libic here taking a lot of damage, as we are going to see in the middle lane 4 men all involved with that. Makata can't afford to go down here. He's got double buffs on and will be forced to flash away from danger in the end. Now it's 2 flashes burned, actually. Charu burned his to get away. Makata as well. He didn't want to get that blue buff over to Moose, which would have been so dangerous, but still able to escape that gank. Great job. I really expect the gank to come there and to kind of prevent that from happening. And we saw Macro on the bottom. I just want to point this out real quick. He's actually running 9% lifesteal. So
the damage they took earlier, I was a little bit worried, like, you're sticking around, but you don't have any, health regen. You're against a sustained lane, but he's using that to stay in the lane. He's using that to, really kind of shut down Varus.
Oh, Grasping Roots will land here on towards Foo Sharp. That's a nice hail of arrows down, though, which will stop the Meteor Maker's bottom lane really getting too involved with that one, but you've always got to fear when there's a ward down in that brush that Charu's going to get involved.
Yeah, and speaking of Charu, he's actually getting very close to level 6 at this point. He does have the teleport available. There was a ward behind the enemy team of Dexter's actually evil, but it was taken out by time and that pink ward, so they're stopping that teleport gank from happening. And we do see Dexter coming on for a gank here. It would be a 3-man dive, but they have the damage they need to do it, and they have the tankiness they need to dive this.
I think they're going to go for this one as well. They are going to go underneath the turret, but can Dexter actually get in there? Got all minions saying, no, you don't. You're not coming in here. And he can't get that dredge line down. And Meteor Maker's trying desperately to get rid of the minions coming in. We are going to see a recall. Dexter had already backed off.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, though. Like that, knowing that Nautilus is around that side, you're going to have to back and heal up because you know you're going to die if you don't. So it forced him back early on, and if they push the wave in a little bit quicker, they can probably deny him a little bit of CS, a little bit of experience, which would give them a nice, huge advantage of lane because they're almost level 6 at this point, and they could get that level 6 engage against a level 4 or 5 Twitch.
I do see Charu is now up at level 6, slightly ahead of Moops once again in the CS and the levels, which was, sadly for Moops, the story of that last game as well with Charu's Orianna. And Charu this time saying, I'm going to show you how to really play an Ahri coming in. But he's not been involved in those lanes. That may change now, though. We can see him headed down south, but to me, it looks like he's going to steal Wraiths again, maybe? No, just wants a ward.
It looks like he won't spot that ward right there. Unfortunately for him, that was going to be disappearing. But and that's the pressure. Like if you just like push the lane, go into a bush, it forces the enemy team and all lanes to really play a little passive because you don't know where Ahri is. You could teleport it in on you. You could go for a gank because she is one of those very mobile champions as we talked about in the first game. And it's a good job by Charu just to know the mechanics, just to know the pressure that you can apply by not being seen on the map.
That top lane, it's been relatively quiet up there. There's a charm landing actually on towards Moops. And a little bit slow to get the shield out there in the end. Actually, the damage is already done. But, he got a shield up afterwards, so I suppose that's something to add in there. Bottom lane, we did see Twitch start to back off a little bit. Got that Vamp Scepter in now to the single Doran's Blade. Foo Sharp, same, but with an extra Doran's Blade.
He's getting very close to that level 6 point, though. Macro's actually ahead of him in terms of that. That's when they want to fight. Like, they have a cleanse on a Twitch, but they have like a double stun. They have the crescendo, they have that chain of corruption. They can easily get a kill on a Libic if they land it. And that is a very squishy target for them to land it. It's key for them.
Oh, there's Kikis. Gonna go back in on towards Kuban here, and he's gonna let's bounce on towards him. Is he gonna have the damage here? He's now in trouble himself. Ignite burning. And this could be very, very dangerous. Is anyone gonna make a false move? Is anyone gonna go extremely ballsy and go in for a kill from this one? Obviously, Kikis does have a flash, as does Kuban. That may play a role in that one, but it looks like Kuban will actually be backing away anyway.
Yeah, that's a really, tense moment for them because they know if, they pick up a kill, they can start to snowball their lane a little bit here. But instead, they're both just going to back away, and we will see Kuban miss a little bit of CS there in the top lane, but, having that gold dispense is going to help out quite a bit. We see a ward picks up 3 health pots over for Kuban, and I'm curious to see what Kikis goes for.
See that here in just a second. Giant spell added in there. So that rejuve speed, plus the boots, a ward, and a pot as well coming down. Here we see the first blue buff starting to be gifted over towards those mid laners. Smite just being used there by Mikata to help out.
I don't know if this was intentional, but if it was, it's a very smart play of Dexter's actually evil. So we saw that the blue buff was taken very late on Mikata, very, very late compared to Dexter, who took it as a second buff. And they might have left it up. They might have not taken it over for Moops because they wanted to have the blue buff when Charu had it just to make it so they can go head-to-head and stay even. And that, if it was intentional, that was a very smart play on their part.
Certainly so, as we see Charu there. Pop his W, throws the charm towards the back onto Moops, but not quite landing in there. And there we go, Binding comes down. But not followed up. Moops decided, nope, can't really do that much damage to him at this point. I've got a Chalice, which, is laser, and if he gets a full combo off, he's still going to hurt, but he's not going to burst him from 100 to 0.
Right, yeah, and actually we've seen both Ahri so far, so Moops last game and Charu this game, they leveled up their Orb Deception first. We've been seeing Xpeke and a lot of mid players leveling up their Foxfire first to get that head-on-head damage because they want to duel each other, but it looks like these teams just want to farm away. Like, they don't want to go for some really heavy engages. They just want to farm it, wait till they get to some team fights.
I think it could be the right decision as well, you know, in the lane against the Lux, who's naturally going to be stood further away from you at all points. As we see the ulti coming out of Libic, here comes a teleport from Charu, but Dexter's actually evil, trying to get away. There's a great crescendo coming out, but they're following in. Charm lands, first blood for Twitch. There's Charu's final charge. He backs away, and he did see the depth charge actually come out onto him there, but it knocked him up, but didn't manage to lock them down long enough to get the kill. Great move out of Meaty Makers, and that's the teleport. That's what a teleport has to do for you.
Yes, and that, you know, we have to give credit over to Fusharp right there. That chain of corruption was like perfect on a Charu. Like, it landed max range right there, held him down, but unfortunately for him, you know, Ahri having those charges on that ultimate was able to get in close enough. The first blood, we saw it happen last time. They have that little bit of advantage now, and Meaty Makers is just going to be aggressive. They're going to push this lane as much as possible, and they're going to try to force Fusharp to farm under turret.
Yeah, we'll see how well he does with that one. Dexter coming around to maybe back that one up as well. Could really do with the help of a second person in this bottom lane, although Meaty Makers are now backing away. Will they go towards Dragon?
They don't have a pink ward.
Yeah, they don't have a pink ward, and Maokai had just started to recall there right on the corner, and that tells me that they've already said, no, we can't do that right now without the vision.
Yeah, it'd be very iffy to do, especially without a pink ward when they don't have the ultimates up. It's always a possibility. I mean, we saw Meaty Makers just how amazing they did at Dragon Control last game, and getting an early start would help out a little bit, but looks like they just want to play a little bit safe here because they know that they're very close. If they win this best of 3, like, they're just one step closer to getting into the LCS.
Let me see. Moops is going to be going in towards that Athene's Unholy Grail, which we've been seeing less and less of, actually, with the Lux players in particular.
It's going over to the Morello Nomicon, actually, as your main kind of source of items, because it gives you the cooldown reduction, it gives you mana regen, but the also key is it reduces healing effects when you're below 50% life when you get hit with a spell. So with teams that have, you know, lifesteal and AD carries, or even, you know, Ahri has that lifesteal from her passive, it can really do a lot of damage to them and really shut them down.
Let's see. Kikis again down to around about half HP. It's been quite a volatile lane, this one, with a lot of damage traded, but not really, you know, kills coming in there. Both players 0-0-0. The CS is very level. See, the Negatron cloak actually came out first there for Elise, for Kuban, so obviously fearing a little bit is timing that lane against Kikis.
Yeah, it's been mostly, for both games so far, it's not about, you know, winning your lane head-to-head, like actually getting kills. It's about just farming until you get to the fights. We saw, you know, how much CS Charu got last game, having that 100 CS lead. As we see in the top lane, that Let's Bounce happening onto Elise, but just gets away. Like, that's the power of Elise.
Repels away from that one as another tank hit coming in. And one thing that I really want to point after this one is about what Kuban did there, but he is still going to be chasing down. Question is, will he be able to catch Kikis? Actually, he's going to flash in there, puts the Ignite down as well. Kikis is going to be burning here. One more tick, not quite enough there to get the kill. Just to go back to that one really smart thing that Kuban did there, which we often overlook, is when Zac uses one of his spells, obviously the blobs come off and he picks them up, then he heals back off it. However, if an enemy walks over those blobs, they actually pop and you can't pick them up. And that's what Kuban was doing right there in the middle of that fight to stop Kikis from regenning in the middle of it.
Yeah, very smart play on him. Just trying to go for that early kill. And it would have worked out relatively well, but Kikis did have his passive available. He's just trying to get that pop because then maybe Makade might be able to come around for a gank. But we have Pink Ward down at Dragon. However, it doesn't actually spot, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check real quick. They actually do see the ward, but they're not killing it. As I say that, they do.
Yeah. Leaving Libic, I think, to do that one, since, you know, he's not going to be doing that much damage to Dragon either. In fact, he's going to be tanking it up here, as we are going to see Crescendo come down. Meaty Maker's already there. The laser comes over. Dragon is going to be picked up, but they're going to lose Makata here. He's right at the back. They're going in. Fusharp does pick up that kill. There's Charu has to ulti dash away, but they combine nicely here. Libic does get the knock up onto Dexter, but the rest of the team chasing him. Double kill now for Fusharp. Charu in all kinds of trouble. The snipe from Fusharp will give him the triple, and that was a lovely turnaround from Dexter. He's actually evil after losing the Dragon.
That was just so well played by Dexter's. Actually, I can't even talk right now. That Crescendo, it only hit one person, but just the entire composition of what happened. We saw Char just drop really quick. We saw Libic get cut out a little bit. That was just so well played. And Dexter's actually evil. I mean, yeah, they lost Dragon. They got 3 kills. They got a turret. They are ahead in this game, and that's got to feel good. And the 3 kills they got, look where they went over to. the Varus over to Fusharp, so he's going to get really strong really quickly.
And also have a massive target painted on his forehead for the Meteor Makers team to hunt him down. And we talked about this before, we maybe even over-talked it at some points during the season, that having all the kills in one place is not necessarily a great thing, you know. Yes, it's good in terms of he is going to be fed and he's going to get great items early on here, but he's going to become then that prime target, and it's going to mean that Dexter's actually will have to protect him. I mean, you always have to protect your AD carry, but not more so than when he's that fed.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I can recall games where we saw, actually, in the meantime, we see Macro in the bottom lane. He's going to get away from the stealth, but a Pink Ward does not catch him in time.
Well, Pinkwood did catch him in time, technically. It was just the whole dredge look that didn't work for him.
Yeah.
As Libic here just waiting. Actually, wow, that was really nicely done by Libic. And the charm will actually land onto Moops as well. Half of his health disappears instantly. And again, the shield comes out exactly as all the damage finishes coming in. So, got the shield going forward. They're going to look for this bottom turret right now. It is a 4-on-3, but look at this, Makata coming around the side. They managed to land the Grasping Rune towards Dexter. There's a Strangled Thorns. Actually, no, that's the ultimate out of Makata, telling lies as they go on here. Charu chasing in. There's a brilliant ulti out of Varus as well, but is it going to be enough here? They need one more hit on towards Moops. The charm not landing. The orb not landing either. And Moops, in the end, uses barrier to get away. That was a nice turnaround from MYM.
If Dexter's actually even waited maybe 5 more seconds before that fight happened, they would have had the crescendo available, and that fight would not have gone in Meteor Maker's favor. But great job by Meteor Makers to realize that, to have the awareness that, hey, the crescendo's not up just yet. We can go for a fight here, and we can win it.
Yeah, and of course it wasn't the Strangle Thorns, it was Maokai's ultimate, which, you know, I saw the circle, I just didn't look inside of it. I expected the Strangle Thorns to come up there at that point, but didn't happen. Either way, Meteor Makers managing to pick up the 2 kills and a 432 gold bounty for Charu in the process. That's what we're talking about, painting that target on when you manage to get a triple kill like that one. However, he does, of course, have a gold lead. He's got more kills, got more CS right now than that of the Rat. In the middle lane, 136 to 139, so hats off to Moops. He's actually caught up nicely here with Charu.
Yeah, he has, and the thing is, he's going to be so deadly as the game goes on. We've seen Char right there, like, he's been kind of the engage for the team. Actually, not the engage, he's been the re-engage for the team, as you saw right there. So we saw Makata go in, but Char came with that ultimate, landed a charm right onto AOD, and they're able to pick up those kills. So he's getting the damage he needs. Looks like he will be going for a Morello. Actually, no, it looks like he's going for a DFG. I'm going to say that because we've seen a lot of R's picking it up lately. So he's trying to burst someone down, and as you said before, with that target painted on a Fusharp or Moops, they can get those kills.
All right, now both teams stacking themselves up here in that middle lane. And as I say, stacking up, they decide, you know what, let's not stack up in this middle lane. We heard Joe say that, so let's do something completely different. Makata headed towards this top lane, not really to get any damage in on towards Kikis, but to defend that turret up there, which has already taken a little bit of damage. And when I say a little bit of damage, it really is just a little bit of damage at this point. Thought Kikis had actually done a bit more than he actually had there. So a pretty slow part of the match now. You know, after those kills came down, it looks like both teams like, okay, take a breather, get back into your lanes, keep farming. Let's see if we can, you know, really work something. Obviously, both teams have a plan coming into this one.
Yeah, it's kind of go back to that phase of let's just farm up an item or 2, and then we'll go for some team fights here. And speaking of items, Kikis, he's going for a Warmog, it looks like. But the problem is he's against a Twitch who has a Blade of the Rune King. So the health you're stacking is going to work against you. Luckily for them, they have Fusharp, though, who's a Varus who does percent health damage anyway. So it's going to be a battle of the percent health here. And I was a little bit surprised to not see Fusharp pick up a Blade of the Rune King because, you know, in LCS we've seen Blade of the Rune King Infinity Edge. Like, that's the build you go on Varus, then maybe a little bit tanky right behind that. But I'm curious to see how well it's going to work out for him.
Now we see Pinkwood instantly going down as Kuban and Kikis again going head-to-head in this top lane. Let's see if Kikis got decent amounts of health now on him as well. He's going to be helped that regen with that Spirit Visage in there, but a bit of penetration coming out from Kuban with that Haunting guys, with those Sorcerer shoes. He's also safe thanks to that Negatron cloak as well. So looking like Kuban's build path is actually working out nice for him at this point.
Yeah, it is. And we've seen this matchup before, like we were saying before, against Soaz and Wicked, and Soaz won that match if I'm not mistaken. Like, you have the ranged harass, which is just so hard to go up against when you're that melee champion. But, you know, for Kikis, you do have the engage on you. We do see the Knight going down on him, but will Kuban go for the kill?
He's going to go for the cocoon, and Kikis tried to dodge it, but ended up dodging straight into it there. The Spiderlings go chasing down, but Kikis able to stay alive. Kuban looks like he's just happy to get him out of that lane. and take back the CS lead here.
What I like to see right there is that he forced a flash away, so the whole let's bounce that could come out of Kiki's won't be there the next Dragon fight, which will be up in 10 seconds. Varus is part on the top lane, so is Zach, so we could see Dragon just being taken outright by MYM here.
Well, that's kind of the control that they've been looking for here. And I see the control that they had in that first game. Everyone's got to be sniffing that someone's around here, because why would Kikis, after being solo, come straight back into that lane? Yeah, well, I mean, he is Zach after all. He can regen it all back in there, but it's enough distraction here that this Dragon has been started by MYM. Sona going to get a ward in the backside. There is the laser available for Lux as well, and that's what they're going to have to rely on here for the steal. The crescendo comes down, but MYM's already picking up there. Makata may be in problem. Will MYM sacrifice him? Strangled Thorns goes down. Flash from Makata, and he will actually walk away. Great pickup out of MYM.
So this time they were able to get the Dragon with no deaths, and then you have Kuban in the top lane still pushing, so they're going to get another turret off of this as well. It's a great play by MYM, and that could have been really bad for them. Like, if Dexter's actually evil maybe was a split second quicker, they would have gotten some heavy damage and probably some kills over to MYM, but now you see them punishing MYM for backing out. They're going to get a second middle turret here, and you don't want to lose those. You lose so much control of your jungle because of it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they were looking for here, as we could see Fushop in a little bit of trouble himself. Livik got the got the grasping roots down, putting an ignite on his head as well, but couldn't quite get in there as Charu gonna dodge around. The ultimate is gonna come onto him, but there is the Maokai ulti as well. Have they got the damage here? Laser will go straight down the middle of them. Piercing arrow comes out as well, and no kills from that, but MYM certainly got the better of it in terms of damage.
Yes, they did, and with Kuban coming in, they might be able to take this turret down here, because Dexter's actually was going to have to pack out. I mean, Kiki's is very low. Dexter's very low as well as he's back healing, but here's the engage.
Move's taking so much damage there from that one. Everything pretty much landing right on top of him. Fushop is going to be instrumental in this defense. If you keep them away, there's a charm not quite landing on towards Kikis. Makata low. Makla down to less than half as well. He gets hit by the piercing arrow as well as Kikis. He's going to dive in there. He's going to get his passive proc here. Are they going to have the damage? No, they're not. They're going to have to back away with Fushop there, and also with Dexter actually coming in from the side, and Kikis comes back to life and says thank you very much.
I mean, it was a smart plan of him. Like, they wanted to go for that engage out there, because look at the blinking lights you see on the right side of your screen. We have Kuban low, Makade low, Makler low, even Charu was out of mana, Livik out of mana. Like, they wanted to go for that engage, and they would have won that, but fortunately the team wasn't in position for that. Looks like they are going to transition over towards this top side right now, and they're able to pick a turret off of this. Oh, as a blind chance right there going for a steal, but didn't work out, and Charu gets the blue.
But this turret is going to go down, and honestly, Dexter's actually evil. They're doing really well this game here. And Kuban's definitely not safe at this point, as they do decide to dive on him. There's a repel over towards those golems. He says not today. But the fact that they lost that dragon, then didn't take anyone down but forced MYM away, was very, very good for Dexter actually. We're using that zoning power that they then had, the positional advantage on the map to just get in there and take down that inner turret. There's a smite on towards the red buff for Dexter, and that will be a nice pickup from them. Makata has just spotted exactly where they were going to be. If we look at the gold, funny enough, even after those kills, that 3-1, MYM are still up in gold.
Yes, they are, but look how much gold that Fushop is sitting on, that 2,000. We even see moves at 1,700. Like, they have a lot of spend. They're going to get a lot of damage here very shortly. And it looks like MYM isn't giving up on this turret just yet. They want to get it down, but Dexter's actually was able to hold on to it. They have this sustained because of AOD. And, you know, we've seen... We mentioned earlier about the second middle turret going down for MYM with Dexter actually pushing up. And we saw right there, with that red being taken away, just the control it gives you. Like, the wards you can put down and the control you can get over the enemy jungle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. But can Dexter's actually evil capitalize on that one? I mean, it doesn't really help if MYM are on your turret if you've got their jungle warded the entire time. Right. You've got to be able to hold on to that one. As this counter turret in the middle, is he going to go down? Livy gets hit with a laser. Fushop gets the kill here as well. Now they're going to try and get in on towards the rest of them. Makata's taking a lot of damage. Kick is going to bounce away like a boss as Kuban comes over the other side, but it's a double kill there for Fushop. Dexter flashes in. Dredge line was flashed away from them in the end by Makler. And Dexter's actually evil again, pulling off a great result right on top of their own tower.
And what really scares me is for MYM that the crescendo only hit one person. Every time that they've won these fights, it's only been hitting one person. I'm curious to see what happens when they hit 3 or 4, because if they lose 2 people off of that, just imagine how one-sided the fight would be if it landed on, you know, a couple more people. But still, Dexter actually, that was a great job by them to get those 2 kills. They weren't able to turn anything off. This Char's actually teleported into the mid lane, but can he do anything off of it?
I'm gonna say no at this point. as he just runs off towards the top there. He's like, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. Oh, there's two of them there. I can't probably kill him. And the interesting thing is when they did a lot of damage to Kikis right at the start there underneath the tower, which, you know, look at the items. He's not the person that you want to be wasting quite a lot of abilities on at the start of things. And, I mean, his Spirit Visage, just the way that Zach works, he pops a couple of abilities in there and he heals it all back up instantly. But Meteor Makers are going to be going in for this turret, but they may just lose men here once again. Makata actually going very low. The Stranglethorn's helping things out, but now it's Makler that's caught, and there's a laser from Moops. Gets one. Can they get any more? Kick is coming over the top. Makata still trying to run away. Great grasping roots. AOD though, max range there will pick up Makata, and now they're going to chase down towards Kuban, who of course can repel away, but you can't usually get away from a Zach who's going to bounce on top of Kuban. But do they have the damage here? Kuban is constantly running. If he turn around and did damage here on towards Kikis, that might be a different story, as Zach going to jump over once again, gets the slowdown, and eventually Kikis picks up the kill.
He was able to stall long enough though for actually Charo to get that top turret, but really, like, it's not worth it in the end. One turret for 3 deaths isn't a strong trade, and we just see the power of Lux, like the power of Moops in that fight, where Makler gets caught, and it gets exploded. And that's what you need to do on a Lux. But we do see Charo getting caught here by Dexter, but I don't think they have enough damage to really take him down.
Maybe not yet, but we are going to see the ultimate coming out here. Dexter gets himself into the bush. Sona coming around the side. Here is Lux actually missing a lot of the abilities there. And Charo flashes away, dodges the laser, but there's the snipe in the end from Fusharp. Incredible stuff. You have to give it to Charo for how long he actually stayed alive there, but my gosh, nice snipe.
Yes, it was. That's the second one that I've seen Fusharp do this game. And, you know, Joe, you mentioned earlier about Meteor Makers sieging that middle turret and how they were doing a lot of damage over to Kikis early on, but they weren't able to get the damage onto the right targets. And I think it's due to the fact that Kuban hasn't really built too tanky just yet. He's finally starting to get those items, but, you know, who's going to dive into the back line? It's just Makade, and he's going to get destroyed by the enemy team. We do see Dexter's actually taking Dragon here. Can they turn it into a fight right after?
Well, they're going to go for it here, but they actually whiffed pretty much everything. Kikis dove in there. We saw
they have Crescendo
ultimate coming out there as well of Virus, which didn't land. Kikis is still bouncing around the team here. He's going to go very, very low, but, you know, he's got his passive available to him. Our Meteor Maker's going to focus that down. Yes, now they finally are, as Dexter is actually evil back away. Maklet will be gifted that kill, but Dexter is actually evil. You know, 1 kill for a Dragon. Take it any day.
Yeah, indeed. And I think they might have been able to actually take that fight. Sona had Crescendo available. AOD could have used it, got a nice one landed, but like you're saying before, like, you know, take that Dragon, take the 1 death, and just back away. There's no point in losing a couple of other members because you're getting a little too cocky right now. And the game is very close still. I mean, it's 9-4 in kills, but the gold difference is not even 1,000 at this point.
Oh, Fusharp in trouble here. Oh, but they've missed everything. They managed to get the slow there. Is a twisted advance. The ulti coming out, but here's a laser from the side. Makler goes low. There's a kill for Moops. Are they going to chase through here? Varus finally goes down to the support. Moops gets locked up there by those grasping roots. Can they keep chasing through? Here comes Charo. Full combo onto Moops. You're not going any further from there, Sunshine. He goes down. Brilliant kill from Charo. And a nice turnaround, but still, you know, a 2-for-1 in the end, and they got the shutdown on Fusharp, which was 430 gold for the support player, which, you know, in the state that we have now with both of those middle turrets down, and the play for positioning and vision, that's going to help out a lot for Meteor Makers.
Yes, it will, and we'll see how Lipic's able to use that to his advantage. And, you know, we have to give credit to Makade right there, because we saw the ultimate come out of Lipic, you know, the Stranglethorns, but we saw the cleanse off of Fusharp to get out of the twisted advance out of Maokai. So he did an arcane smash to actually keep him inside of it, able to knock him up and get that kill, but it looks like they were trying to get the kill over to Makler, but with Lux coming in, they were able to kill him before that could happen.
Now we saw the Oracle on AOD to clear things out. Do have that with Libic as well, as you'd expect. That kill, that shutdown, give him a free Oracle, basically. Yeah, which is always good if you're a Meteor Makers fan, or a Meteor Makers player, more to the point, as he clears out there on that top side. So on the wards on the top side of Baron available here, as we are seeing that blue buff given over towards Moops again. He's 217, slowly but surely fell behind a little bit here once again of Charo. But technically ahead in kills here, and death 217 compared to 222. There's a flash from Libic, and they've been zoned out here once again. Look at that, Elisa's top, Ari's middle. They know that Libic's gone off to the side, and we are seeing Dexter is actually evil pushing out this middle again.
And they're forcing Kuban to back away, as they are just, like, actually, well, Kuban's still staying in the top lane. It looks like Dexter Evil decides to not go for it. But Joe, since we have a second here, let's take a look at items that have been built over the past couple of minutes. Because we have Fusharp, who went for a Quicksilver Sash, but he has his last Whisper of Bloodthirster combo. So he's like 2 items ahead right now of Mackler at this point. The damage he's going to do is going to be ridiculous. We have the Sunfire Cape done for Kikis. We have the Spirit Visitors that was done a long time ago. So he's very tanky. He has the ability to regen if he can pick up his own blobs in the middle of a fight. And then you have Dexter right now, who's going to be very utility-like with the Aegis going to be building it into Runic Bulwark, but he's going to just be there for the knock up the slows. Like Dexter/Evo has a really good composition right now to go for some team fights here.
One thing they still need to be careful of, though, is Charu. Got that DFG added in now towards with the Void Staff as well. So if you're the lucky or the unlucky person, I should really say, that Charu decides he's going for, you're pretty much going to pop instantly if he manages to unload correctly onto you. But is that going to be enough of them? Just one man being taken down in a fight.
I think it's who's he going to go for. I mean, he can hit Fusharp, but he has magic resist now. He can get out of your charm, so you're not really going to be able to lock him down too well. But Moose is like your real target. But his position in these fights have been quite well. He's been sitting towards the backside. He's been just making sure that he can't be caught out that much. We do have the Runic Bulwark now picked up over onto Dexter. So that Runic Bulwark against a double AP composition is going to work out quite well.
Yeah, Mackler, though, as well, at the same time, picked up the Infinity Edge, which, it's going to be very, very dangerous for this Twitch coming in. They need to make sure that he gets locked down early enough. But at the same time, a good laser and a Lucid Singularity coming out of Lux can probably be enough to just nail him down in one go anyway. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen from... I'm sorry, Candy Panda, for doing this, but you're the one that comes to my mind when I think of this. We've seen him play Twitch against a Lux, and sometimes you have a hard time dodging the lasers, and if you get caught when you're the AD carry, when you have these items, you can't afford to. Like that's the point I'm trying to make. You cannot afford to get caught. If you do, you're going to lose these fights, and you're going to cause your team a loss.
Well, he does have that cleanse, obviously, so if he does get hit with a binding, can get away.
Right.
But will that be enough? You've got to still have quick reactions to avoid the full combo, even if he cleanse out from that binding. Right now, Dexter is actually evil, starting to push this bottom lane. Wise timing, the Baron. The Dragon is coming up in just less than a minute's time, and it looks like Meteor Makers are actually going to be gifting this one over as Kubon puts down some damage there onto AOD, who's just clearing out the wards that MYM had put down there in the Tribush, and that will be the 3rd and final outer turret taken down for Dexter is actually evil with 30 seconds until Dragon spawns.
And look at the goal that we just had. Like right before that turret went down, it was dead even. And that's just ridiculous for how far we into the game. It's 32 minutes, 10-6, and 4-4 tied up in turrets here. We're going to see a fight break out here at the Dragon, but the problem is Charu isn't there. He has help to get there if he needs to, but he needs something to go to. There's certainly no wards really down to help out, and we see some damage being traded already. Matrix Makers has to be a little careful here. I mean, they can't afford to let Cubone get low at all, and he's already down about half health.
One thing, though, that is for sure, Charu has that teleport available and will be coming into the fight if he can get away. Obviously, Zach is there, could stop that from happening. Meteor Makers right now being positionally forced away from that one. Charu going to be rushing down from the base with those Home Guard boots. Somebody needs to get there quicker. Dragon already being started off here, down to around about 1/3 of its health. Dexter is still actually doing damage to that as well. In the end, they back away.
Now, Charu did blow his teleport down towards the bottom lane in that Tribush ward we're seeing right there, just to get there and help out. The thing was, like, what Dexter's actually evil was doing right there was just so perfectly well played, because they caught Meteor Makers in a choke point, and when you're in a choke point against a Sona, a Varus, a Lux, a Nautilus, and a Zac, like, you're not going to escape that quite well. We do see Meteor Makers picking up Dragon, but, Dexter's actually evil looks like they might try to go for engage, and they could have maybe even pushed the inhibitor turret right there.
Yeah, I think they've made the wrong call there. I mean, they had positional advantage. They probably could have stopped Dragon from happening just by hard pushing that middle lane. They're going to do it now, obviously, because they do have that advantage in terms of where they're positioned on the map. They're going to have to tank up the turret.
Back, though.
We are going to see them coming in here. Livic's ultimate is going to be crucial in this scenario. We are going to see the Grasping Roots and the Stranglethorn that's going to knock 3 of them up. Good ultimate comes out of Varus there to lock Charu in there, and he has to dash in and out of the fight, though. Kubon here at the back of things did manage to get the Zac passive proc. Moops now the focus of all that damage. He's going to fall to Kubon in the end. The Zyra passive actually sniped down AOD there at the end, but look at Fusharp, still alive, still healthy, still doing all the damage. Look at this, he's going to go around, try and stop the flash. That didn't happen, but Zac can chase you. Zac can jump over the top of the wall, gets the slow as well, but that will be a 3-for-2 advantage for Dexter is actually evil.
And Joe, we just saw Kiki's 1v1 Mackler right there. Like pretty much 1v1. It was ridiculous. Just took it down so quickly. Meech Makers had a good engage. Like the string of thorns that went down at Olympic was so perfect. Knocked up 3 members of Dexter's Actually Evil, but they were able to capitalize on it because their damage got taken out. Charu, he has some good damage. Like, look at his items. He's very strong, but the problem is, once his combo's down, once his DFG's down, his ultimate's gone, like, he's not going to be able to be as mobile as he needs to or be able to do the damage he needs to, because Fusharp survived the onslaught that came out at him.
So let's have a look at some other items coming in. Speaking of Fusharp, Static Shiv now added in to his build of that Bloodthirster Last Whisper Sash. Onya's Hourglass has been finished now for Charu's Ari as well. As a Locket of the Iron Solari picked up there for AOD on Sonos. They've done a fantastic job of crescendo so far. There's no doubt in that in this game.
He's also been soaking up quite a bit of damage to allow the rest of his team to just not have to worry about it too much. The items are developing though, and on that note, I think they're starting to develop a little bit in Dexter's Actually Evil's favor. I mean, we do have Mackler, he has the Zeal, but the problem is he has no defensive item, which Fusharp invested into relatively early, and we saw right there like how much of a necessity it really is.
Yeah, man, he can't afford to get caught out. He can't afford to have Kikis 1v1 in the AD carry, that's for sure. But what do? If you can't protect him, like if the Grasping Roots don't land or a Cocoon doesn't land, you're gonna have trouble stopping Kikis from being constantly on top of him with, not just the damage that he can do in that close proximities. We are gonna see the light binding landing on towards Libic. Gets caught out. Here comes the laser over the side. Libic actually strangely tanky there. He's got like Aegis of the Legion plus a Null Magic Mantle in as well, which is definitely gonna help things out. But he managed to walk away from that, and he'll be probably quite happy considering the fact that the laser's gone, albeit for probably about another 10 seconds. Yeah,
very true. And you mentioned last time about the team, or the protection of Mackler out of Meech Makers, and the problem they're running into is that they don't. Well, it's hard to say. They don't want to defend him. I mean, obviously they want to defend him, but the thing is they want to be aggressive with all their CC. They don't want to have to be using it defensively. They want to be engaged as hard as possible. And with what's been happening so far, it's been working. Like, they've been doing that, but they've been paying the price with Mackler dying. He's not strong enough to survive on his own.
Oh, this could actually be quite dangerous here. So you see Mackler at the bottom lane. See all those wards down on the Baron here for Dexter is actually evil. Oh, it's a binding misses there, and look at that. Charu actually going in. We see the ultimate out of Varus missed as well. Not exactly what they were looking for there, Dexter's actually evil. And that may force them to be a little bit more defensive if another team fight does break out.
Yeah, I mean, we have Charu's ultimate on a very quick cooldown. Fusharp's going to be on a lot longer cooldown, so they could go for an engage in that downtime between those. However, the Crescendo is still available, the Lux Laser's back up again, and they have the rest of their ultimates, ready to use here. It looks like Meech Makers doesn't want to go for a fight. They're trying to go for some split pushing, but it's not working out.
Not working out on Patrol now. Dexter is actually evil. Going to be pushing through this middle lane once again. Spiderling's just been thrown out there to do as much damage as he can. Cocoon lands on Dexter, but doesn't do any damage, I'm afraid, really, through that tanky Nautilus. Dexter's actually evil. They're in a good position here. They're still behind in gold, Jason. But it's that close that one team fight now. We're almost at that 40-minute mark. One team fight that happens because of nerves or a bad flash or a bad ulti here and there can cost them the game.
Yeah, we saw last game just how one fight can win you the game. I mean, we saw Meech Makers win that engagement on the bottom inhibitor turret, and they just won because there's such a long respawn timer here. But you can tell, I mean, you're definitely right. Like, the nerves are really setting in because both teams are playing very defensive. They're being very hesitant to go for any sort of engage, except Charu, who's always happy to use that ultimate and go in somewhat.
He's not scared. I think it's all in his hair. His nerves. They're stored in his hair. He's definitely not scared of getting involved in this one. We've seen him from time and time again. Dexter is actually evil. Starting to move up through their jungle. Funny enough, they don't really have that many wards down right now. We see Libic there with the Oracle on. Has nicely cleared away. AOD, did he have an Oracle? Yes, he does. So he's going to actually go out there, clear out that Baron pit as well. And that will force Libic's reaction.
We do have the rest of Meech Makers waiting towards Dragon. Looks like they're a little bit early though, 30 seconds. They're trying to take it right when it spawned, just get a little bit of extra gold. But, with Charu, look at how far ahead he is in CS again. I mean, we saw in the first game he had almost 100 CS lead at that point, but he's keeping up and surpassing Moops in CS. But in terms of how the fights are going to play out, like, Moops has more utility. He has the stuns, the snares, he has the damage off the Z. He also has a shield, which is really key. I mean, it can save you from so much damage. And then the ultimate, that laser that can just destroy a team. It can hit so many people.
Oh, Meech Makers need to be really fast about this one, and well, doesn't really last long, does it? That's for sure. MYM with 3 men there on towards the Dragon. They're going to catch Libic out, though. Can they defend him here in time? Libic does have flash, will flash away, but here comes Zach from the side. The slow comes down. Libic does manage to land another grasping root, a cocoon from the side. Well, the ignite is enough there from Kikis to tick away for the kill.
And there goes another Oracle out of Libic. He doesn't have any GP10, but he does have enough gold. Well, not anymore as he picks up the Runic Bulwark, but he didn't have gold for that Oracles, and that's such a huge thing to lose because we've been talking about, map control in terms of, Meechmakers losing their second middle turret and Dexter's Actually Evil taking advantage of that, and when you can't control your own jungle, you're going to get in these engagements that you don't want to fight. It looks like Dexter's Actually Evil is going to try to push this turret here. They have a minion wave coming. They have all 5 members here. They could potentially take it.
Couple of turret hits landing on towards Dexter there, but they've got more men, and to be honest, just the poke that comes out of Lux when you've got that much AP as well is going to be very deadly, as that turret will eventually fall. The shield doing good work there for Dexter's Actually Evil, and they pick up another turret now, 5-4. If we look at the goal, there's a 300, let's call it 250 difference right now between these two teams after 40 minutes. So close.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's only because of that dragon that Meechmakers has that gold advantage at this point. They're still stealing away that blue buff. That's a really key, buff that Charu needs. He needs that cooldown reduction. It goes a little bit underestimated sometimes on an RA, but the cooldown reduction you get, the mana regen, pair that in with the DFG, it just gives you so quick cooldowns that you can really put out more damage in these fights. But Dexter's Actually Evil, they have the potential to go for that Baron. The problem is they don't want to get engaged upon in that Baron pit where that Zyra ultimate is just going to shut you down. You be lined up for a spray and pray, not to mention the Maokai ultimate, which can really do a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely doing a lot of work. That's the team Dexter's Actually Evil have got as MYM going for an invade. They say, you steal our blue buff. We're going to steal yours as well, as we are going to see now Makata going in towards the Moops getting caught out here. Will go down in the end, but look at Fushop. There is a brilliant Zhonya's. The timing on that one was absolutely impeccable. Sends the ultimate of Varus completely whiffed. Won't then lock down. There's the charm not quite connecting, but Dexter is running away from this one. Is he going to be able to escape? He flashes over the wall, and Dexter is actually alive.
That was a smart play out of Dexter's Actually Evil right there to escape. Because Dexter, if he stays alive, he's that threat when they try to go for Baron. Looks like they don't have control or any ward coverage to really spot it. And we saw right there, just the whole control you have over the map can really cause problems. You see Fushar getting caught, but does escape. But MYM was able to catch Dexter's Actually Evil in their own jungle, and were able to blow moves up.
Yeah, and that Baron... And that's what I'm talking about, one little thing like that, they'd brought it so close here, Dexter's Actually Evil. They'd got wards around the Baron side and, out of that one, but they didn't quite manage to ward their own jungler, which you sometimes forget, when it's this close, you're like, we don't need to ward our own jungle.
You never expect them to just run in there at your blue buff and catch you. You really never do.
Really great reactionary play out of Meechmakers. They got that blue buff on towards Charu, they got the Baron, and that sets them now 1,700 in the lead. Kick is picking up the Abyssal Scepter, so he's going to be doing more work for Dexter's Actually Evil. But it still comes down to a fight. Now, obviously with the Baron buff on, Dexter's Actually Evil are going to have to play more defensive for these next minutes.
Yes, they do. And, I mean, you mentioned the Abyssal Scepter picked up on a Kiki's, but he's already been able to 1v1 Mackler. But this should make it... It's a hard trade-off, because you look at it like that. You picked up that item, but we see Mackler picked up a Last Whisper. So Kiki's might still have that potential to 1v1 Mackler, who hasn't picked up that defensive item just yet. But with how well Charu's been playing right now, in terms of catching people, they have to shut him down first.
Yeah, look at his CS. It's approaching 100 again here. 369 to 289. Zhonya's DFG Void Staff, needlessly large rod, which will, as I'm talking about it, be turned into a Rabadon's Death Cap. Compare that over with the Athene's, Rabadon's, and Void Staff. Now that R is blowing you up a lot quicker.
You can probably agree with me on this, that Meechmakers is kind of a little bit like Evil Geniuses in terms of how they kind of work their team, where they want to get Charu fed, they give him all the farm because they want him to carry the team, as well as Mackler. Cubon, he takes a hit for the team by not getting too much farm, not getting too many items completed, but he just gets that tanky force that they need to protect the rest of their team.
Well, I think it's, the style that League of Legends works best in, you get your carries fed. It's really that simple, and they're doing a good job of it right now, although you'd argue that Fushop's in a much better position to carry than Mackler currently is. But we'll have to see. Meechmakers now the ones on the offensive going in there. Dexter going to get charmed up. There's the Grasping Roots landing as well. Stranglethorn's going to come in. The Crescendo came down. The Laser came down, but they didn't do a whole lot of work here. And now they're being chased down. Meechmakers in the end decided to back away and just take the turret. Makata tagging that up for quite a while. Off you go, Jason.
Yeah, he did, and that's the power of that one fight, just what we're referring back to. One fight can turn the game for you. We did have MYM trying to get this inhibitor turret. They should be able to lock it down. Makata getting very low, though. Getting
very low. Will he drop here? He's actually being ignited and will be finished off there by Kikis. But that turret still isn't going to be safe here. As Kikis is going to get shut down in the end there by Elise. We saw the laser coming over. Makla went very low. Now they're trying to chase away as the DFG use there from Charu onto AOD. There's the binding coming onto Kuban as well. He's going to be focused by Fusharp, but they're not really in the position to keep chasing out towards them. Nonetheless, they've managed to hold on to that all-important inhibitor turret.
Yes, they did. It just seemed like MYM just got a little bit cocky right there, trying to go for that, because, I mean, it was a good idea in the end. They wanted to lock it down, but at what cost? I mean, they traded 2 for 2 right there, but the important thing, just like I said, Dexter's actually will head onto the inhibitor turret. We lost a Baron buff on some key members of MYM, and Makla, you saw it there, like the Lux Laser hurts him so bad, and he barely escaped with his life.
Yeah, but barely being probably the key word from it, you know, not dead.
Barely's not dead.
Yeah, not dead. Did use his cleanse to really escape that in the end, though. That dragon is gone. Dexter's actually going to be charging out of their base, looking for a bit of that, but too late, my friends. That one has already gone. And it's now all of a sudden, you know, in the last 5 minutes, we were talking about, look, we're just about 30, 40 seconds away from 40 minutes. In the last 5 minutes, Gold has gone 5,000 swing there towards MYM.
Yeah, obviously, obviously towards the end of the game, it doesn't matter too much when it's this late in, but still, that just shows like how powerful the swings can be. As Charu looks like he will spot Dexter, but we do see engage coming on Makata.
Yeah, Makata comes out the other side. Fusharp going to get hit with a DFG, but look at Charu. He has to use a blast of that ultimate to get him away. The laser will snipe him off there right at the back. Makata surely not going to survive here. He flashes, but it's too late anyway. 2 kills coming out now as Kikis goes diving off towards Makla and towards Libit. Can they get in? A good cocoon did lock down Sona there, and Dexter's actually surely now going to go straight up the middle.
You have to give Move so much credit on that one. He waited for the charge on Charu to be used just so he could land that ultimate in between the cooldown time here. But with them pushing this inhibitor turret, they should be able to lock it down. However, Makler's alive. He has a spray and pray available, but it won't matter. They're going to take it in time.
Yeah, turret goes down. Surely inhibitor will fall as well. The MYM wondering what just happened. They took Baron. They were pressuring the inhibitor side at the bottom, and now they've lost that inhibitor of their own in the middle lane. And that's going to slow this game down a little bit now for a while, I'm assuming, as we approach the 50-minute mark. 7 kills the difference in favor of Dexter, who's actually evil. And you can see most of them over with that AD carry, but he's actually behind on Gold, albeit by 10.
Not much in this late in the stages of the game, but I think you're right. I think we're going to see a calm phase again happen, unless Dexter's actually evil can catch anyone of MYM in the jungle. As you can tell, they're just backing away. So the next fight will come at Baron. About a minute 30 away. We need to see some wards get down for both teams to really kind of struggle for that advantage, that vision advantage. And with the Oracle on AOD, I don't believe Libik actually has one. No, he does not. But he is trying to farm up and get it right now. He does have the gold finally, but he's got to hurry. He's got to get to that Baron.
Yeah, they need to get in position and start the work. They've got a lot of vision on the bottom side there. Dex is actually evil, but honestly, that's not really the area of the map that counts right now. It's all about that top side with Baron coming up in just over 1 minute's time. Blue buff is up, which don't forget, MYM picked up Baron last time because of that blue buff spawning, because DAE actually took away their blue buff earlier on. This time, though, not sure that one's going to happen. Moop's just losing sight of it there. Will be helped up here by Kikis to take that one away. And the wards start to flow around the river.
But we do see a Guardian Angel picked up now for Makler, so he has that second life to get back in the fight if he needs it. And with 30 seconds left on the Baron, with Dexter's actually evil controlling the vision. I mean, look at the vision control they have. It's just ridiculous right at this point. However, Olympic will be able to stop it in a second. Like, they could kind of bait in this Baron. Like, it's up to them, because the middle lane is pushing with that the super minions. So they can just wait this fight out. They can disengage if they need to with the Crescendo, with the Lux, with the Varus, if they want. But MYM, they have to make a move here. They have to decide the pace of this game. They either have to engage, or they have to just push this middle turret or middle lane and stop the super minions from pushing in.
Well, they're going to get rid of them quickly, that's for sure. The binding does land in. Devon taking an E out of Lux as well. AOD just clearing out the walls at the backside. MYM know that it's going to be a case of probably going in for this one. Since they've got no vision, they need to be able to see what's happening and what Dexter is actually evil are doing about this one. Charu just kind of forced that middle lane back a bit more. And of course, there is that super minion coming in, and he's probably going to need Twitch to help him with that one.
You just saw Meechmakers brute force their way in there for the vision. Like, they didn't have vision, or they didn't have the sight at all. They just walked in there like saying, hey, this is our bush, we want to control it, and they did. However, you look at the top lane right now, Mackler's there, he's pushing out that wave that's like stacked up on his turret. And Dexter's evil, like they have the damage to take this Baron down before you even get there.
Well, the Baron has been started off. Meet Your Makers coming from the bottom. Makata going to get caught out from this one. Are they going to keep going? Dexter's actually evil have all come off the Baron here. Are they going to go for it? Twisted Advance comes down towards Dexter. DFG comes in, the laser only hitting Kuban there. That could be deadly, but there is the first kills coming down. And it is Varus at the back who's still doing a load of work here. Fushot picks up another double kill. They have to get rid of him in the fight, and they are going to finally focus him. Charu uses that Zhonya's, flashes away as well. And now Makler stealthed up here, going to go in on towards Mooks. That's going to be a kill. He's going to take out Fushot. Is he going to get kickies? Yes, he is. Finally, it's a double kill in the end for Twitch and an ace for Meet Your Makers. 5 for 4, a messy affair by the Baron.
You just saw right there how good Mackler is at AD carry. His micromanagement during the entirety of that fight was just insane. They won that fight just because of him, strictly because of that position the entire time. Just wow. I mean, I didn't expect the fight to be that close, but with that GA, it allows Mackler to play a lot more aggressive.
Well, you could also argue if he'd have been doing damage earlier on in the fight, it might not have quite gone that way. But now an ace is an ace at the end of the day. He's killed the entire team there right at the end, mopping up, or whether you do the damage at the start, because you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that once you do come out of your stealth, they're going to jump straight on top of you.
The thing is, though, I think Dexter's actually evil still came out ahead in that fight because they got the bottom inhibitor turret. Like, yeah, they lost 5 members. They killed 4, though. No Baron was taken. They got the inhibitor turret, so they can easily take that down if they want to. There's even a huge minion wave pushed up on top of it right now, and someone's going to have to deal with it. Like, Meet Your Makers is leaving that up right now. Looks like Charu will be the one to do it.
Yep, must be Charu that's going to do that one. Because the rest of them starting to push forward here, getting those wards down and in position. Libic actually doesn't have a Zhonya's, which is... he's got pink wards, though. As you would expect. Not going... Zhonya's, what am I talking about? And Oracles is what I say. He doesn't have a Zhonya's either, Jason. No, was terrible times. But we are going to see the teleport from Charu coming in on this top side. Meet Your Makers starting off the Baron. And to be honest, with that Twitch in there, with that Blade of the Ruin King, this is going down very quickly. Can Dexter's actually evil reply to this one? Dexter is going to get hit there, but that's a great Zhonya's coming out of Charu. He gets popped straight after that, though. But look at Mackler at the backside. He's doing the big work in this one. He is doing a lot of damage. Fushot going down. He's going to fall in the end. There we go. And that will be 2 kills coming out. Zach got away at the top. Dexter actually did manage to escape there as well, somehow, with hardly any health whatsoever. But, you know, it wasn't the ace, but they've taken Kiki slow, they've taken Dex low, they forced the rest of them out of the fight. And again, the AD carry Mackler right at the back there, Jason, doing so much work. Yeah, he was able to keep them in that fire. You just saw how much damage the Spray and Pray did for that fight. Like, he was able to catch Fusharp and Mooks at the same time, caught next to each other, and just hit away from damage from range. He's full build still at this point. He has a lot of gold to spend still at 1,700. But, I mean, what else can he really pick up? It's just pretty much a Zephyr if he wants to sell his boots and go for it. But that was just so well done by Meet Your Makers. Charu got popped, but the Zhonya's, I mean, he mitigated 2 ultimates right there, the Lux Laser and the Nautilus ulti, and kept himself alive. Perfect. Yeah, but unfortunately, if he didn't get popped, that would have been a completely different fight. But still, that was so well played by him. It was able... I mean, the whole point is that he was the one that baited out the ultimates. It wasn't Mackler the one receiving them. Yeah, and that's Zhonya's meant they didn't take any damage from them. Technically, obviously, he did just explode straight away as soon as that finished. But the rest of the team then were able to pick things up for him. We can still see that Dexter's actually evil. I tell you what, considering the position they're in, they're not scared here. Gonna try and take away this blue buff, and Kuban says, hang on a minute. 3 versus 1, you're not gonna get my blue buff. Jeez, I didn't know spiders have balls like that. I mean, that was a really iffy situation for him. He did have the Banshee's Veil, so he would have been able to survive. There wasn't a lot of damage for Dexter's actually evil there. But still, I mean, that's a great job of him to keep that alive. Like, that is so perfect because they've been losing the last 2 of them. And we even see Charu, who has a GA as well. So he's not full built. So they have their carry is pretty much full built at this point. You look over on Dexter's evil side. Fusharp doesn't have his last item completed just yet, but he's been forced into that defensive item, that QSS. Yeah, that QSS, which No, may or may not prove useful later on. I mean, he's got the cleanse in there, he's going to have the QSS, so he's got two options to escape, but, you know, it doesn't stop you taking any damage at the same time.
And the problem is, like, it doesn't matter, like, which AD carry is more fed at this point. It's all about the range. Like, Twitch has that range on you, so he can be so far away from your front line and just hammer away at you even while the front line's hitting him. But Vars can't do that. He has to kill Makade first. He has to deal with Cubon first. Not to mention Charu, who's just zipping in and out right at him. So he's having a hard time just dealing with that. But they still have, I mean, they still have a chance. Like, we're maybe talking about this game like it's completely over, but you've seen their team fight so far. You've seen how well they've been working, and it's up to them to hold on here.
Well, it's not over till the fat lady sings. And I've only just started warming up my voice, Jason, so we're all good. Wow. Inhibitor turret now going to become the focus for Meet Your Makers. Charu off towards the side again, trying to put the damage through over the wall. Kuban, of course, did pick up the Banshee's Veil in that one as well, so he's going to be avoiding, you know, possible snare, possible snipe, maybe even a crescendo if he's at his luckiest there. We'll see. Meet Your Makers with that Baron buff on deserve some respect at this stage. The bottom lane is actually starting to push through as well, so they do have the option to really turn onto that side as well. Yeah,
they're going to go for that fight right when Storm leaves to deal with it, and that's going to be like a big point. If they can win that fight, if they can take that turret, they're going to win the game, because we're 55 minutes in. Keep that in mind. There's like a 70-second respawn timer on anyone that dies, and there's no way that either team can hold onto their base if they do lose.
Right, well, Kiki's just going to try and push down that bottom lane, stop it coming in. Top lane's actually got waves coming down as well, so all is not good in the Dexter's actually evil household at this point. They are facing a lot of pressure from Meet Your Makers, and of course it's 1-0. They have to win this game. They cannot afford to lose out on this one, as Makata does take a little bit of damage going in. There's the Banshee's Veil back up for Kuban. He gets a couple of hits on towards the tower, but can't afford to get locked up. That's the danger of, you know, tanking the turret at this stage.
And you see Mackler, he's just sitting back extremely far. He doesn't want to get caught at all here. Looks like they will go for the turret, but Makade getting blown up.
Wow, never seen a tree being felled that fast. And that was, you know, the power of the laser at this point. That really held things off for Dexter is actually evil. In the meantime, Kiki's actually pushed that top lane out as well. And it looks like Dexter is actually evil. They're going to go for the inhibitor. Yeah, or not, as they get pinged back. Dexter, obviously Dexter said, come on, let's go for it. And then the ping, like, no.
They probably could have, too, because no one on there's no tank on Meet Your Makers. Well, there's no, like, full tank. Obviously, Kuban is built a little bit towards that, but they can just destroy him with that Varus. Like, they have the advantage to go for this if they want to. They can get 2 inhibitors very, very easily, and Makade's done for still 35 seconds.
Varus is hitting for about 1,000 damage per auto attack right now, which is kind of scary numbers, to be honest, if you're anyone on the Meet Your Makers team. Let's see how they deal with this threat. Kiki's now does have that Guardian Angel in as the Cocoon lands on towards Dexter, but they can't stop this inhibitor going down. That is going to be picked up. The bottom inhibitor, of course, is open for the taking as well. But it looks like Dexter is actually evil, not wanting to go for it. Not going to risk it just yet with Makata coming back in play.
Yeah, that was a really great turnaround by Dexter, actually able to pick that up. I think they could have potentially gotten the second inhibitor at the bot lane, but they're playing it safe because they know if they lose this, they're out. Like, they will not be able to advance in the qualifiers for the summer split. So, I mean, it's still a smart play to realize that, but still, they got to push out their lanes. They're all approaching full item builds at this point, and it just comes down to who has the better team fight. Like, who has prepared better in that.
And it's one fight at this point. Yeah, it's just one fight. I mean, we're going to hit 60 minutes, an hour-long play here in Game 2 in just a little while. And you can understand the whole back and forth and the tense play. You know, neither team wanted to make a mistake. Neither team, to be honest, can afford to make a mistake. Especially not Dexter's actually evil, of course, are 1-0 behind in the grand scheme of this best-of-3 game. Scoobon is going to be forced to go up towards that bottom lane, which sounds weird. Up towards the bottom lane, of course, the top side of it there for Meet Your Makers to clear that one out. Baron's going to be coming up and again in a minute's time. So guess what, Jason? It's time for wards, it's time for oracles, and we're going to dance around the Baron.
We're going to see some tangoing happen here, and the thing is, it's all about who can catch who at this point. You have, like, the lineup, like, you have Lux who can catch someone, you have someone who can catch someone, you have a great team in general out of Dexter's actually able to catch someone, but Meet Your Makers, like, they don't want to be caught. They want to be the ones starting the fight, so they're going to have to depend on Libic, depend on Makade to catch someone off guard, and the last couple of fights they've won, it's all because Dexter's been caught and just blown up. Like, he's not taking up to deal with the team. As long as he doesn't get caught like that and they engage on their own terms, like Dexter's Actually Evil can win this fight.
Well, 40 seconds, and they're headed completely the opposite direction at this point. It's an interesting decision to send 3 men at this stage with, you know, that Baron coming up so quickly down towards that red buff here. They will get back up towards that Baron area in a second. The midway being pushed out here by Meet Your Makers. They've got them super minions again, those pesky super minions to keep pushing back. Great turnout from Dexter's Actually Evil to pick up that last inhibitor, of course.
See, Joe, to me, I'm looking at this right now. I'm thinking like how the fights are going to develop, and this is the kind of point in the game where you wonder, was the teleport worth it on Charu? Like, was it worth it for him to take it at this point? Maybe an exhaust, you could shut down moose damage, you shut down food shot for a little bit. Like, would that have been better to take, or, you know, overall? I mean, obviously Charu was able to make some plays early on with that teleport, but he's not able to split push really right now because he has to be there quick enough for the fight. It's just not really useful at this point.
Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll teleport to the back. Actually, he's going to go absolutely mega aggressive onto Moops. The shield pretty much puts him back up towards full there as Dexter starts to work his way in. Here comes Kikis as well. Is he going to bounce his way through the laser? He's going to hit Libic. That's going to be a very low Libic, but he's still alive, crucially. And look at Twitch there, in there, doing the damage. Libic will finally fall. Let's Bounce comes down, and Makler, he gets exhaust, but he's still hammering away here on towards AOD. Can they finish off? That's a double kill coming out for Varus. And now they're running. Twitch going to be the focus. Makler is going to die here. His Guardian Angel will save him for the first time around, but not the second time. Triple kill for Varus. And now it is a 5 versus 1. 4 for nothing in kills that fight for Dexter Is Actually Evil. We're going to be going into a third and final game as those Nexus turrets start to be taken down. This is exactly what we wanted to see here in this best of 3, going into that third and final matchup to figure out who will go to play Dragonborns in a best of 5. Well played by Dexter's Actually Evil. And now we're going to figure out, as we hit that last game, who goes through. But, you know, Hugs, it's game 2, guys. You've still got more work to do.
And you have to give AOD so much credit in that last fight. He was completely the MVP right there. The crescendo was pretty much spot on, but you saw the exhaust come out of him to shut down Makler. Like, that was just so perfect out of him.
And Meet Your Makers, obviously, not in the best of moods after that one. It remained close throughout, but in the end, it's Dexter Is Actually Evil to pick it up. And we're going to be going into game 3. But of course, before that, we're going to head over to Demon and Quickshot to break down that amazing game.
Yes, thank you very much, Joe and Jason. What a game. So, back and forward action there. Nobody really wanted to win it for a while there. It was in Meet Your Maker's hands. They had Baron twice and they were pushing inhibitors, but they just couldn't break through the defense of Dexter Is Actually Evil.
I have to think that, you know, in terms of the game, we've actually seen a number of times where calls came in from teams and it almost cost them more than it helped them. One particular Dragon fight where, you know, Dexter's Actually Evil had positioning on it, then decided to back off and they're like, we'll go mid, backed off and MYM took a free Dragon. A little bit later in the matchup, you see Makata saying, let's take the tower. He stands in front of it and just got felled as though Dexter's Actually Evil were, you know, fielding a lumberjack. And it was just mistake after mistake and it cost them.
And so many times when someone got caught, that laser came straight in on top. The damage coming out from Varus in that game was incredible. He was absolutely nailing him. Starting off, he had that triple kill right from the beginning of those snipes. So many times he did a flash and a snipe. It was absolutely brilliant.
And you have to touch on the chain of corruptions as well. The number of times that we've seen his ultimate literally setting up an entire team fight. The replay we'll get into in a moment is actually one of them. And it was a game of mistakes, to be very honest. Both teams had phenomenal play. Both teams played their champions to perfection. But when they were out of position, it cost them objectives and it cost them map control. And I think both of these teams will need to stand up, shake it off and go, right, where did it go wrong and what can we fix in this third and final game?
Well, I mean, we're going to show you this Baron fight that happened that, honestly, it could have gone either way. It was a 5 for 4, I think, towards the end of it. But it was such a crazy fight. And there was actually very high skill between who was controlling which fight at the right time.
To set the tone for this one, it's at 50 minutes in the game. And we actually had a very difficult time picking out which replay we were going to do because it was just so many amazing moments. Let's actually jump straight into the replay. And like, you know, D-Man was saying, this fight could have gone either way. What we'll do is we'll slow this one down and actually show you each individual ability that lands because at one point, you think, well, this is MYM's fight. Even though the Makata has taken a lot of damage, look at the positioning here for Kuban. All from the side, Makler untouched, and Libic comes in with the great Strangle Thorns. The reason that MYM do not simply roll over Dexter's Actually Evil is because Fushop and Moops are not even affected. They are out of the damage zone. They're away from absolutely everybody. So a good laser comes down, and again, it's just this story of carries. The moment Makla is being left untouched, as is Fushop, and they trade kills one for one another. Zac goes down, then of course the passive now for Zac coming up. And just keep your focus on Fushop and on Makla. As soon as they start taking some damage, they immediately just reposition and move themselves out of the fight. Now, Cubon was very instrumental here because of, the focus that he draws with that repel. Lets you say, well, come back in, come back in. And finally, again, Makla just untouched throughout the fight. It's just a matter of whose AD carry was safer throughout the course of the battle. And to be very, very honest, it was a sloppy fight from both teams. Both teams made positional mistakes, made focus errors, and it was the reason you ended up having a 5-for-4, almost a double ace.
And then there was a number of fights just like that you think, oh, they've got this fight. Wait,
Yeah.
how did they just lose that fight? How did that happen? And it was just a case of someone not quite being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, very, very true. And again, it's just the decision making, whether it's nerves, whether it's stress, whether it's not knowing your opponents. There's a lot of factors that can come into it. One thing I definitely want to touch on as well was the itemization from both of these teams. We've seen double Aegis of Allegiance from both the junglers and the supports. We've seen slightly strange, orders of items being picked up. A very early Void Star for Charu, for example, as well as an early Rylai's for Cubon. So differing from what we used to seeing from LCS players, but equally effective nonetheless.
Equally effective nonetheless. And of course, that does mean we will have a Game 3. First, best of 3 of the day. We're going to the third series, Meet Your Makers. And Dexter is Actually Evil going at it after a 62-minute epic, I believe it was, towards the end there. Fantastic game. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to jump to a break, and we will be back shortly with Game 3.